And welcome to the Holste podcast. I'm so glad that you clicked this link and joined in the conversation today. And I want to thank you as well if you clicked the link on any of my social media sites as well, like Facebook, Instagram, Truth, LinkedIn, and there's so many other ones that I use as well. So thank you so much. I appreciate all your support. And today we're going to be talking about something that, I think we all struggle with, and that's frustrations. What frustrates you in your life? For a lot of us, it has to do with political things. We are frustrated with the way that our country is being run. We get frustrated by how certain leaders do certain things. We get frustrated with political things outside of our country in other places that are dealing with war and crisis, hatred, whether it's freedom in believing in religion or any of that. We have frustrations. We have frustrations within our daily lives, within our jobs. Maybe it's a coworker that just gets on your nerves. Maybe it's the frustration of not getting a promotion that you feel that you rightfully deserve. Maybe it's the people that you interact with at your job, whether it be customers or vendors. Maybe it's the frustrations within your personal life, with your children acting out and getting in trouble in school or making poor choices, life decisions. Maybe they're older and they're struggling with different things in their life and you're frustrated with the direction they're going. Maybe it's within your relationship with your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend. It happens. No matter where you turn, frustrations are always there. Maybe it's the frustrations within your own life. Maybe you're frustrated with your direction that you've been going in. Things aren't going right, and you're wanting them to go right. You're frustrated. You're frustrated that no matter how hard you try, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, things constantly go wrong. Things seem never to go right. And that can be a lot to handle, especially if you have high anxiety or if you have depression. There's so many variables in our lives where we feel like enough is enough. I'm frustrated. I'm done. I'm over with this stuff. I don't want anybody to interact with me. I don't want people to talk to me. I just want to be left alone. I want to crawl in my bed and just put the sheets over my head and just act like this day never even happened. And then unfortunately, there's people in this world that get so frustrated with what's going on in their life, they feel like they have to do the wrong thing. And that's number one, either hurt themselves or they choose to commit suicide. These are all examples of things that we do in our lives that have frustrations involved. But what do we do in these times of frustration? When things just get too unbearable? One of the biggest things that I struggle with in my life is just dealing with people not understanding what I'm trying to say. People misunderstand me all the time. And maybe I'm not saying the right words. Maybe I'm just not thinking things clearly before I say them. But some people misinterpret what I say and they take it the wrong way. Or maybe people hear what I'm saying and they think that I'm not being sincere enough. or that I don't care. And, that's what frustrates me, is when people hear what I'm talking about and they misunderstand what I'm saying. They take it the wrong way, and it frustrates them. So now we're both upset at each other because they're not getting what I'm saying. They're thinking I'm saying something completely different, but I'm saying the best things out of the best intentions. I don't know if you go through that too, but it's frustrating when that happens. It is devastating to me because I want to be understood. And I think we all do. And when we don't get understood, it just makes things worse for us. Here we are trying to be sincere and nice and caring and compassionate, and someone's taking it the exact opposite way. How is that possible? Some people don't like hearing positive things. Some people don't like to hear someone trying to be caring and joking around to try to make them distracted or to make them feel better. And then that frustrates you that you weren't able to accomplish that, right? Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But that's how I feel. And the biggest thing that I also struggle with is people not listening to what I'm trying to express that I need. Do you deal with that too? Do you have those times where you feel so frustrated because you're explaining, this is how I feel and this is what I need. This is what I need to see. And they just either acknowledge it and they don't change anything, or they just blow it off. They don't want to hear it. They don't have the time for it. They just don't want to acknowledge your frustrations. And that's the most devastating thing, especially when you're in a relationship. When you're trying to explain to your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, that, hey, this is what I'm feeling right now. This is what I need from you. And when they don't acknowledge it, when they don't appreciate where you're coming from, that makes things very difficult in a relationship. It makes it hard for you to want to be a positive person in that relationship. It makes you want to stop. It makes you want to just be like, you know what? Forget it. If you don't want to understand where I'm coming from, then maybe this isn't going to work. And maybe that's how it's meant to be. If they can't listen and they can't understand where your heart is and where you need to see things. Because relationship is about growth. And I think the issue with relationships is people get comfortable. People feel like they're with someone for a certain amount of time. You know what they want. And you either try to accommodate at the beginning, and then finally you're just like, you know what? I'll put it off. I'll do it later. Oh, it doesn't matter right now. Oh, we'll talk about it later. Oh, I don't want to hear it. Those things can frustrate the other person. Or the biggest thing that I see as a big frustration as a parent is when you tell your kids to do something and they don't do it, for one, or they say they're going to do it, but they don't do it, or they say they're going to do it and they claim they did it, but then later you find out that they didn't even do it at all. Or they did it in a half good job. You know, it's kind of like when you tell your kid to put your clothes away. Everything's folded and ready to be just put away. And they say that they did it, but then you come to find out that they put it in their closet, they dump it all on the floor, and they shut the door so it doesn't appear that there's no clothes anywhere. But really, they weren't put away. And then on top of it, what frustrates you the most as a parent is they lie to you saying they got it done, but it never did. Don't those things frustrate you? Don't those things make you go, what the heck is going on? I mean, I think we all did it as a kid, right? I think as a kid, we go through life and we think we can manipulate our parents. We think we can get away with certain things. And then we get frustrated when we get caught. But the issue is some parents, they just see what their kids do. They let them lie. They don't have any sort of consequence. And the other parent is going, aren't you going to do something about it? Aren't you going to say something to them? Aren't you going to take away their phone, take away their computer or whatever? Aren't you going to make them have some sort of consequence for lying? And when that doesn't happen, you get frustrated. It causes more strain in your relationship. It's not fun. These things happen. These things just don't make your situation within your relationship become stronger. It makes you grow apart. Why do we let that happen? There's so many things that I grew up with learning how to cope with frustration. As a kid, I was always told to punch a pillow, count to 10, take deep breaths, listen to music, read a book, go for a walk, ride a bike. There's so many things as a kid you could do to get your mind out of the negative of your frustrations. But as an adult, you grow and you learn that there's more tools that you can do besides the counting and all that stuff. You can go out for a ride or go to a park and just admire the beauty of the animals and the ducks, the geese, whatever. Or you could go to a lake and just relax and just listen to the water crash onto the shore. You can just go for a swim. Maybe you could go to a pool. Maybe you can go to a gym and work out. Maybe that's how you deal with your frustration, is going to the gym. A lot of people do that. But the issue here is the people that are looking towards the wrong direction when they don't want to seek help, when they don't want to do the right thing. There's so many people who fail to think that there's helplines, crisis lines. There's churches with pastoral staff or even therapy teams on hand that can help you. There's even therapists in this world, believe it or not, that want to help people with their frustrations, their anger. It's the people who choose not to take these steps that make the wrong choices in their life, that continue to dig themselves in a hole that eventually they can't get out of, or they feel that they can't get out of. The biggest excuse that I've heard in my life from people is, I'm too old, it's too little, too late. There's no point. That is far from the truth, because you can change your life. You can take the steps that you need to do to better your life. So you don't have to continue to go in and out of your day feeling frustrated. You don't have to feel that way. And there's more tools out there that I didn't mention that you could use. In those comment spots there, go put it in. What do you do when you're frustration to calm yourself? What do you do to overcome your frustration? I want to see what you guys do. Maybe it's something completely different than what I was talking about. That's what this podcast is about, is helping people overcome certain battles and trials in their life. You know, one of the biggest frustrations that I dealt with in my life as well was not knowing who I was. And you may be asking, if you've not heard my podcast before, what do you mean, Kent? How did you not know who you were? Well, I was adopted. I was adopted at birth. And for 18 years, I didn't know who I was. What was my bloodline? Who did I look like? And as a kid, those are very important things you want to know. Because in school growing up, there was that first day of school when people would write reports about who they were and where they came from, what's their bloodline. Were they Italian? Were they German? Were they Native American? There were so many different origins of people. And I had to sit there and listen while I had to do a different type of report. What I did during my summer. What it was like growing up for me. Who I grew up with. You know, it was a whole different story. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know that I may be German or part Native American or a few other Heinz 57 things. But, I wanted to know who I was, and I was frustrated. I was so irritated that I couldn't figure that out. There came a point where I snuck behind my parents' back and looked in their file cabinet in their basement, and I found the adoption papers, and I read through all that stuff and found out names. I found out lots of different things. So when I turned 18, it was very easy for me to go where I was from and find who my parents were. Found out who my mom and dad and who they were and where they came from, their history, their bloodline. But for some people, they don't get that chance when they're adopted. Some people don't even care to find out who they're, and what and when and who their birth parents are, because they're happy with their life and they just don't bother to want to see who it is. But for me, it was important. It frustrated me for many years. But my point is that sometimes within your frustrations, when you have the chance, when you have the opportunity, you need to go out and find it. You need to go out and figure out where you're from and do what you can to overcome the obstacles in your life that are causing you frustrations. What is the biggest battle of frustration you have? Is it within yourself? Is there demons in your life that you just don't know how to control and it frustrates you? What frustrates me is people who doubt. I've always had people in my life question and doubt my abilities, who I am, my character, where I come from. People just want to be that person that wants to irritate, push buttons. People who purposely try to frustrate you, to get the best of you. And they don't care about what you're going through in your personal life. They don't care about what your past has been like, not knowing whether you've had mental abuse. That can be frustrating. It can make matters worse. It can hash up perhaps other issues with mental health, like higher anxiety. It may increase that. It may even irritate if you have PTSD issues. There's so many things that frustrations can cause things to get worse. So what do? If you're looking to go out and to cope with these frustrations by doing drugs, by doing alcohol, those are addictions that you don't want to get into, because it's not going to solve anything. At the end of the day, you may be feeling good, but by the next day, you're going to still be dealing with the same frustrations that you were having before. It didn't solve anything. So you wasted your life going out and getting high, going out and getting drunk, and for what? For what? What did it solve? Nothing. If that's what you're doing with your life and you feel like you can't get out of it and you're frustrated about that, then go seek help. There's nothing wrong with going into treatment. There's nothing wrong with going to a support group like NA or AA groups. They're there to help. They're helping you rebuild your life so you don't have to deal with the frustrations that you were dealing with before. What if you're dealing with struggles with your frustration with your kids, that they're acting out, they're doing things that just make you boil? What do? Sometimes you just have to step away, take a deep breath, and you just have to say, this is only temporary. Things will get better. You got to believe that things are going to get better, because if you don't believe things are going to get better, things won't get better. They're just going to stay the same. And as I've always said on my podcast, it's like a carousel. You're going the same direction. You're going the same way. You're going to the same places over and over and over again. You're not going anywhere. Sometimes it takes a matter of talking and sitting down with your kids and saying, this is what's really affecting you, and you need them to stop. You need them to understand the consequences of how their actions are in that household and how it's affecting everyone in the house. And you have to do it in a way that they don't feel trapped or feel like they're a bad person. Because as a kid, when you get in trouble, you think to yourself, man, I did something wrong. But sometimes you can take it far worse than what it actually was intended to be. Sometimes you just have to pull them aside and just let them think for a little bit and then talk to them. Have some separation. That's why there's a thing called timeout. Have them sit down. Have them think about their actions. Have them think about what they just did and what they did wrong. And it's not easy to live your life with kids with attitude problems. I was that kid that was always a troublemaker, always seeming to find the wrong people to hang out with that got me into the wrong things, and it affected my life. But the major part of me is I was frustrated because I wanted to feel accepted. I wanted to feel that people liked me. I wanted to be in the popular groups. And when I didn't get into the right groups that I felt I knew I needed to be in, I went towards the wrong direction. I hung out with the wrong people. And that wasn't right. It affected how my life went going forward. And then it caused more frustration. Surrounding yourself with good people will solve all the issues of your frustration of the wrong people that you're hanging out with. If you're finding out that when you're hanging out with certain people and they cause you to get in trouble and it causes you frustration, maybe those aren't the right people to hang out with, right? But what about things within your personal life like work? What do you do when there's people that frustrate you, that one coworker that just gets on your nerves? What do you do? You know, I had a coworker that I worked with once that we did not get along at first. We absolutely hated each other. Hated each other. I frustrated him. He frustrated me. And then all of a sudden, we were stuck being teammates in this call center during training. I had to listen to his calls. He had to listen to my calls. And at first, we were trying to get out of being group partners. It just wasn't going to work. But we got stuck with each other. And it was the best thing that ever happened, honestly, because I gained a huge, massive, amazing friend who was there for me when I was going through my first divorce, who was there for me to build me up, to lift me up, and to remind me who I really was as a person. He saw the good in me. And I owe him so much, and I appreciate him so much for what he did, because he is an amazing person, and I didn't give him a chance at the beginning because I judged, and I'm sure he judged me, and it frustrated me, and it frustrated him. But a friendship came about because we had no choice but to work it out. And look what happened within our frustration. It went away. What about job promotions? You feel like you deserve a job. What do you do? What do you do when you want that job so badly and then you watch somebody else get that position? What does that do to you? It makes you angry. It makes you frustrated. It makes you question, is it me? Did I do something wrong? Did I not do enough? Did I not say enough? Did I not appreciate something enough? What did I do wrong? And it frustrates you and it eats you alive. And you just feel like giving up. You end up quitting your job. You go for another job that doesn't make you as happy. You know, I was not in that same predicament, but I thought one job was just driving me crazy, and it was frustrating because how things were being run, and I just felt like grass would be greener somewhere else. And I went to this other job, and granted, it was great. There was good people. It was an amazing experience, but I didn't get paid enough. I took a huge pay cut, and it was frustrating. So what did I do? I went back. And I went back to that job, and things got better, and it progressed, and things grew, and I did things that I never thought that I would ever do for a job. And it was amazing. That frustration went away. I had to change things. I had to take a different direction. I had to look at my life roadmap, and I had to say, well, I got to take this route, because if I take that route, it's not going to change anything. It's about hard work. Getting over your frustrations takes work. It takes time. The issue with people today is they look at their frustrations and they see how big it is, and they think that it is not possible to overcome. But in reality, it is easy. It's just that people do not give it a chance to get past it, to get by it, to move forward, to believe in themselves, because chances are they don't have a good support group. They don't have good people surrounding them saying that you can do this. You can overcome this obstacle. You will succeed. They don't have that. But when you have an amazing workplace where people support you, they back you, they believe in you, when you make a bad mistake, they don't just criticize you and say, that's it, you're done, you're out of here. They work with you, they train you, they make you feel like this struggle, this frustration that you had, you can overcome it, and you will get better, and you will succeed, and you will progress. That's what life is like when you work hard and you create friendships and bonds with the people that you work with. And that is a beautiful thing at the end of the day. Now, let's talk about the biggest thing that I did not talk about, and that's your relationships. Yes, you're going to have times in your marriage or your dating life where things are going to go awry, things that will frustrate you, things that irritate you. And you have two choices. You can sit down and talk about it, or you can just sit there and continue to watch things frustrate you. You cannot be afraid to speak your mind to someone that you care about. And I'm not talking about talking rudely or talking with your frustration in front of you. I'm talking about sitting calmly and addressing the issue, the hard-hitting issues that you are dealing with in your mind. Because here's the thing. Nothing will change if you don't talk about it, if you don't communicate. And the biggest thing that I see in relationships today is people not wanting to communicate with each other. They just act out, or they do what they want to do without any thought or concern of what the other people in that relationship are going to feel like. Sometimes you have to do things that make you feel uncomfortable by talking, by communicating. That is the biggest thing that are the biggest end of all ends in relationship is communication. I've had that. I've had it where in a marriage there was no communication, there was no teamwork. It was all I, and not you. If your focus in your relationship is not about the other person first, your relationship is going to fail. You're going to have these frustrations. You have to work as a team. You have to work at caring for that other person, because isn't that the whole point of being in a relationship? Is about putting that other person first before yourself? Isn't that the most important thing? Isn't that the whole reason why you're with someone in the first place, is because of them? So why aren't you doing more to make that person feel like they are important? Why aren't you talking more? Why aren't you turning off your TV, your tablet, your computers, whatever, and spending time with that person? I feel like the biggest thing that has gone wrong in our relationships and with our kids And it's our biggest frustration is technology. Growing up, when I was a kid, yes, there were cell phones, but the technology wasn't as big in them. There wasn't a way to watch YouTube on it. There wasn't a way to watch news stories. It was just a phone with numbers, and you could text, but that was it. That was it. And now look at our technology today. You can't pick up a normal cell phone without it having a camera, without it having internet on it, without having YouTube, without having all this other stuff. And look what it's doing to our kids. Look what it's doing to our relationships. People are always looking at their phones. You can't go into a restaurant without people looking at their phones. Heck, you can't even go to church without someone having their phone in their hands, taking selfies in the middle of church or doing whatever. It's not appropriate. It's not. And it frustrates people who have to see that stuff going on. In fact, that just happened to me yesterday when I went to church. This person was taking selfies and was not sitting close to their spouse. They were sitting 4 people spaces from each other. It didn't make any sense, but they had kids that were causing mischief, reaching in the pew in front of them and touching another person's phone. And I'm just standing there going, why aren't these parents doing anything? And it frustrated me. Why do parents let their kids do that type of thing? What is wrong with those parents? That's what I was thinking. It was distracting me from my time worshiping. People don't think about that. People don't think about what their kids are doing and what they're acting like as a distraction. That's frustrating to me. But then I had to regroup and realize that I'm not focusing on the right thing right now. And the same thing goes within our lives. Sometimes we get distracted within our frustrations that we don't see what really is more important at that time and at that place. So what are you going to do within your relationships when it comes to that? The distractions, the frustrations, the anger, the fear, the anxieties. Are you going to just sit there and watch things continue to happen, or are you going to change them right here and now? Don't let your frustrations get the best of you. Don't let the frustrations in this world frustrate you. It's time that you take a look at your life. Pull yourself out of your shoes and look at yourself. Look at yourself in a mirror and say, what can I do to overcome my frustrations so I can stop living in fear, stop living in anxiety, stop living in this pit of just agony that I just want to stop. You have to pray. You have to talk about your emotions, your feelings. You have to overcome these things before they get the best of you to the point where you make poor choices and it makes your frustrations worse. You have to take that step now. Seek help. Talk to someone. Read your Bible. Go to church. Go to support groups. Call the helplines. Do what you can today to stop this anger, these frustrations. Don't just let them keep getting worse. Think about that today. In the comment spot, share your thoughts about your frustrations, how you handle them. Where do they come from? Don't use it as a way to bash a person. Don't say names. Don't do certain things that are rude because I don't want to block you. Talk about yourself. Talk about how you had to deal with your frustration and how you had to overcome it in a positive way. And how did it change your life when you finally got over your frustrations? Let's talk about it now. And remember to think and be positive. Do what you can today, not what you can't. And I believe in you. Don't you think you should too? And if you see someone who served our country, whether it be police, military, fire, or even the hardworking people in our medical facilities, give them a fist bump. Give them a high five. Tell them how much you appreciate them. You never know how much that might affect their life in a positive way. Do that one random act of kindness today. And thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, comment. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to this YouTube channel. And also ring that bell for all the latest new content that gets posted right here and on all the other family of Kent Holste podcasts right here on YouTube. I appreciate you all. I appreciate your support. And I appreciate all that you've done for me this past 8 seasons of the Kent Holste podcast. It truly means a lot. Thank you for listening. God bless. And I'll see you on the next episode.